What's this blinky blinky shit?
That's to start trying to switch.
Is that what it looks like for the people at home? That's crazy.
Don't worry about my eyes. Just put them on, man. Let's go.
We're on. Hey, I think we're on. I think this is Cascadia Live happening.
I think we're on, man.
I think we're on.
All unpause this program contains subject matter that may be inappropriate for sensitive viewers.
Yeah, we're on. Hey, this is Cascadia Live. It's going to be a seat of the pants show tonight, let me tell you. We've got SSI for their world debut on the stage of the City Council chambers. We got Robert Hoyt in from town to also play some music for us. We're going to show you some video clips of some things that have happened in town recently. We're going to talk to Mick Garvin and a few other things. SSI, just warming up. Oh boy. I want to talk to you about something that's happened in town recently. A young woman down in Whitaker neighborhood. Oh, Whitaker neighborhood, what a surprise. Disorderly conduct, according to the police. The amazing thing here is that this woman was walking a dog with the dog on a leash, but the leash not in her hand. She got pulled over by the cops. She thought it was kind of crazy that she was being singled out for this kind of attention from the squad car. I think she started screaming and stuff. I don't know all the facts of the case. What I do know is that the district attorney, when she was convicted of disorderly conduct, asked for 6 months in jail for her. And the judge, Judge Karp, ended up giving 3 months in jail. And, tell you the truth, I think it's kind of crazy that this sort of thing is going on. 3 months in jail for disorderly conduct. I guess that's what happens when you're living in the Whitaker neighborhood. It's a sign of something that's going on here. I think that we're going to talk a little bit more about tonight, but it's a sign of something that's kind of grand that's going on right now. I'm talking about a culture that is falling apart here. We got ecosystems that we always like to talk about as falling apart. We've got a culture now that I think is showing the signs of the final stages of decay. A lot of folks talk about not wanting to have the social safety net taken away. And I think the safety net analogy is kind of a mixed up analogy, folks. When you're at the circus, you're out there in the stands, and that safety net's taken away, and that high wire trapeze artist falls, they hit the ground. I think if you want to make the social safety net analogy work, you got to understand you are all underneath the safety net. When the safety net goes, all those people on the wire are going to be falling on you. They're going to be falling on me. That is, unless you're one of the people watching that's up on the wire right now that's going to fall with them. All right, let's go see if SSI is ready to start playing out there. Why don't you go out and take a look and see what's going on out there? Hey, you guys ready to start playing out there? All right, camera 2.
Camera 2, take 2, man. Take 2, take 2.
All right. All right, SSI's not ready yet. We're going to go back to them in a little bit. This is a band that takes a lot of time to warm up to get like sort of musically, acoustically tuned. I'm going to have my first guest on now, who I hope is somewhere nearby, James. Why don't you go ahead and have a seat here. James, you were in town I guess it was a week and a half Friday. Oh, I should tell folks, we've been preempted by the City Council last week. We're going to be preempted again next week, but we'll keep coming at you. Just keep tuning in every Wednesday night. If it's the City Council, you can watch if you want, but we'll be back 2 weeks from now. We weren't on last week, but something happened the week before that. Some city fathers and mothers sponsored a guest lecturer that came to the Hilton and did a little song and dance for us. Rob Tier was the guy's name.
Downtown Eugene Incorporated and Symantec sponsored a conference that was held at the Eugene Hilton. It's featured Rob Tier, the General Counsel of the American Alliance for Rights and Responsibilities, which goes around and pushes cities to pass ordinances that control street disorder, and that was the name of the conference, was Street Disorder.
All right, I think we have some footage from the conference. We ready to?
You want to set it up any more than that, or is that it? Okay. Wait, sorry, guys.
What's all this lack of trust?
Well, here we go. Okay, what are we on? Camera 2 right now? Okay. You're ready to switch? That audio up? Rolling. 4.
A person intended to live in, the instant they parked on the street, they were violating the ordinance, which would seem to apply to every Volkswagen van, Winnebago, or any other vehicle that I presume a lot of people in this audience might have. You might want to know that the city attorney believes you are violating the camping ban whenever you park on a city street for even an instant, although you don't have to worry if it's maybe beyond 1985 or so and looks like a reasonably expensive vehicle because they never cite those. Does this indicate discriminatory enforcement of the laws?
On your second issue, I want to see the numbers. I want to see the number of people in late model vehicles that look more expensive who get away with the activity.
We would too. Can I just add one more thing? We've asked the police for information on that, and they've sent us a bill for $6,000 to get the statistics.
Well, I suspect municipal funds are tight here in Eugene with the decent ballot proposition, and we have an example of that. Again, there are two magnets, if you will, operating. The first magnet is of one, people who I think we all would regard as the homeless, regardless of how we individually draw that line around that definition. If the city has very generous social service providers, public and private, if they have ample and large, clean, comfortable shelters, and if they do not provide strings or conditions on the provision of social services, they themselves will be a magnet and a victim of their own generosity, if you will. Ed Koch put that directly. If we build it, he said, they will come, and they did.
Is, let your town get a reputation of basically no tolerance. Right. Do you think that message is getting out?
I think it is, and it's not exactly no tolerance. It's, as Mr. Tier is saying, it's setting a standard of human behavior, and I think that's a fair assessment of what we've been doing here as well, is that we will not put up with antisocial behavior or unlawful behavior.
Okay, so Becky Hansen of the Eugene Police Force and Rob Tier of this Alliance for whatever it is.
What Rob's saying sounds real nice and supposed
Yeah.
to give people a warm, fuzzy feeling in their tummies. You're supposed to be responsible for your actions, and cities are supposed to set fair and reasonable standards for public conduct. I think what Rob's really pushing, though, is social control and paternalism. He said it himself, and I wish we'd run that clip where he says everything people want to do is not good for them, and what he's pushing is for things that he doesn't think are good for people. When Becky Hansen says that these statutes are applied fairly, evenly, and not discriminatorily, I think anybody who's watched this show before knows that that's a laugher.
Well, for
It
people
is
who haven't watched
targeting.
the show, why? I mean, like what?
Because the police are targeting people in their enforcement of these ordinances. They're targeting people that look a certain way, people that dress a certain way. And I think that the statistics from the latest sweep that we had over in the West University neighborhood emphasize that fact.
Okay, what kind of numbers you got? How'd you get these numbers?
129 arrests in 3 days. All this sweep's supposed to be doing is cleaning out the drug dealers, right? You hear all this hysteria in the media and from the police about how the area is a rampant drug dealing zone and that we need to crack down on drug dealers. 10 drug dealers, alleged drug dealers, are arrested out of 129 people. This is not cracking down on the drug dealing.
Whoa.
Who is targeted? Who is targeted? Let me give you some examples. We have people arrested because their dogs don't have licenses. We have dogs in prohibited area. That's a crime. We have skateboards in prohibited area. This is before the dog and skateboard ban, mind you. There's just dogs and skateboards in prohibited areas, whatever those might be. Littering. Failure to obey a traffic control device. That's jaywalking. Mm-hmm. Or my favorite, minor in possession of tobacco. There's supposed to be rampant drug dealing down there, but the West University neighborhood received something like 2,417 calls for service the past couple years. 48 of those were for narcotics. This is not, rampant drug dealing. What we have here is rampant minors in possession, rampant jaywalking, and that's what the police are targeting. And these are the sort of ordinances that Rob wants more of.
Now, of course, the drug dealing was illegal in the West Eugene or the university neighborhood before all this, right?
Drug dealing's always been illegal.
So they could have arrested those 10 out of the 129 anytime, but with these new laws, they get an extra 119 arrests in there.
Without passing any ordinances against Pablo Escobar dogs or skateboards. Yeah.
All right. I got a suggestion for our new mayor, Jim Torrey, who might not have a full clue as to what's going on. I wonder whether or not some folks would join me with calling for Mayor Torrey to go on the next sweep of the Whitaker neighborhood or of the West University neighborhood. 129 arrests in 3 days, what's that average out to? A little bit more than 40 arrests a day? Spend 8 hours in one of your squad cars with the Eugene Police Department. See whether or not they can pull in 40 people while you're there, and see how they treat those people and see who those people are.
And see whether what they're arrested for.
Yeah.
It's not drug dealing, Jim.
Yeah, so see as mayor, what your police department's up to right now. We got another clip now from this Rob Tier conference. Are we ready to go with that?
Yeah, we are.
All right, let's roll that.
I'm very disturbed by your term poor utilization of the police. think that really downplays what's going on. I think what's going on out there, clearly offensive behavior is not the target, especially when people are being ticketed for not crossing the street at a right angle. I'm sure that everybody in this room, when they're crossing over to their neighbor's house across the street, they don't do that. Massive tickets for that. Massive tickets for trespassing, for things like using the phone, trying to use the phone. A lot of people who are a victim of homelessness, which I think 24/7 outside does exert a little bit of stress on our mental state. A lot of homeless people either leaving town with a stack of tickets or going to jail for 6, 12 months, 2 years, 3 months for stacks of tickets like urinating outside, sleeping outside, all inescapable crimes, if you will. Public drunkenness, a slew of tickets, and that's the tactic that's happening from the police, is that they're given a whole slew of tickets until they've got enough tickets and enough failure to appears where they either go to jail for a long time or they just leave town. I think somehow people have this thing that going to jail even for a day is not that big a deal, but it's a big deal. Going to jail is a continual slew of psychological torture, from no blanket, verbal harassment, threats, cold air, bad food, denial of food, all kinds of things happen in jail that make one day a very torturous experience, if you ask me. I'm wondering these places that you have on your resume, Rob, like Boulder, Colorado, Santa Cruz, Seattle. I wonder why the poor people that I talk to that go to those towns use terms like fascist, police state. Do you think that they're just missing the picture, or maybe they just don't have a clear picture on it, or did something go wrong in the plan that you helped them implement to clear their streets? And I'm also wondering what Polly is doing to deal with the actions of the RDU sweeps, both in the Whitaker neighborhood and on 13th Street, which were clear violations of the equality by the police that you're talking about.
Is Berkeley, Santa Monica, and Santa Cruz our fascist bastions in America? I wonder what your friends would say about, say, Philadelphia, Mississippi, or Lagos, Nigeria, or Singapore.
So I'm talking specifically about police.
The answer is that the police departments in those cities, like the police department here, I suspect, I am a visitor, I don't know, make mistakes. I think they're generally fair-minded. I suspect that also they generally appreciate the diversity and tolerance that made those cities what they are today. And they don't want to be a community of Stepford wives. I would resist the notion that they're fascistic. I think that's a misuse of the term. And I think there are examples of a city where all people can feel welcome. And I think today, people do feel welcome in those places far more than they did 30 years ago.
I think that they should, and I agree with you that that is a problem in that area.
Excuse me. I want to get out.
Stand back, sir. Please. Yes. You need to remove your hands from his. You need to keep your hands off of him. Just keep walking. You need to keep your hands off of people, man. What are you charged with? I haven't done anything. Let go of me. Excuse me, what is she being charged with? You hurt me for no reason. What are the charges? I want to know the charges. I have a right to know the charges. I want to know what I'm
not being charged. I haven't done anything.
Hands off.
Help me.
He's touching him now.
I haven't done anything evil. I haven't done anything. No, I don't want to go to jail. Please don't take me there. Please. Person, you don't have to hurt. Oh, they're hurting me. They're fucking hurting me. Oh, goddess. Oh, my goodness. They're fucking violent bastards with goddamn guns.
Stand up for it.
No, I don't want to go to their jail. No, I don't want to go to their jail. Please don't let them take me to jail. It's so fucking scary. No. No, I don't want to say no. No. Please don't let him take me to jail. I haven't done anything. I just wanted to speak. Touch me.
Just stay back. I can touch you as much as I want if you're interfering.
Listen. I haven't done anything.
She's not doing anything on a public sidewalk. Get in the way. I can touch you. Don't worry about it.
No. Harming like that. No, I don't want to.
Careless.
I didn't do anything.
What's your name? 343.
Procedure whatsoever to drive people out of town. But I will tell you this, do we target people? You're darn right we do. We target people who are engaged in unlawful activity. I don't care what you're wearing, what you look like, what class you belong to, but if you're involved in illegal activity, we will be there and we will deal with it. And it doesn't matter if you are a so-called street person or somebody who lives in the southeast neighborhood. It does not matter. And for those of you who are skeptical, then I invite you to come down and see what is happening. I have always been a proponent of having people with video cameras come down, videotape what we're doing.
30 feet. Sir, I'm asking you to step back.
I am 30 feet from them.
Step back, sir. If you don't step back, you are subject to arrest.
Police misconduct, and we can certainly deal with it. We want to hold our officers accountable. It doesn't do us any good to have rogue cops out there doing things that are going to create severe liability issues for us.
Alliance for, I know what's rights and responsibility.
That's right.
Other A for?
Oh, the American Alliance for Rights and Responsibility.
Who funds your group?
We're funded largely by urban residents who send us $25 or $50, and we're funded in some respects by foundations, and we're proud of the fact that unlike a lot of Washington organizations, we somehow managed to raise money from the left and the right.
Oh, sort of a bipartisan organization.
Right. It's some of our resistance to some of the rights assertions made by the ACLU gives us some impetus by some conservative foundations. The fact that we're working in urban areas and trying to defend livable and integrated cities is attractive to some of the more liberal foundations. We don't raise a lot of money, unfortunately, but we raise enough.
Which foundations?
The Rockefeller Brothers Fund has funded us in the past, the Horace Goldsmith Foundation, the John Olin Foundation, and the Scaife Family Foundation are four that have been the leading funders for us in the past.
Do you have any representatives that have...
So Rob's coming to town with outside money helping him get here. James, you researched a couple of these groups, and you can say a few things about who these foundations are?
In addition to having a funny voice, Rob's got some sketchy friends. The foundations that he mentioned are foundations started by wealthy business interests to push their agenda. They pump literally millions of dollars into their causes. The Olin Foundation that he mentions, one of their major causes is shaping the public dialogue in favor of conservative